Okay, everybody, here we go. We are going to get through this worksheet number 5. If you have any questions on the worksheet, hopefully this will help you as you work through it. Part 1, Part A, I should say. I'm just going to go ahead and pull this down and let you stop your video and check out the answers on this. This is review. At this point, we should be able to get through these. And if you're still struggling on this, you probably should get in to see me for some extra help. But this is kind of the type of questions we've been doing on the flashcards. And so we should be good on these. So if you need to look at these, stop your video because I'm going to go on to the next ones. Okay, part B. Here we go. Number 7, you should be able to do after we did that in class. Number 8, we'll go through together. So if you need to stop the video and look at 7, go ahead and do so. I'm going to move on to number 8. Okay, so for number 8, we've got these two logs that we need to condense into one. Whenever you're solving an equation, you almost always want to condense your logs. So this is log base 3. We have addition here, so we're going to change our quantities. We're going to take these quantities and we're going to multiply them. And we're going to keep that equal to 3. I'm going to go ahead and just simplify that quantity to 27x squared. Okay, there's a couple different routes you can go from here, but what I'm going to do next is change this to exponential form. So we have 3 to the third equals 27x squared. At this point, it becomes an algebra problem, and you would be getting x equals plus or minus 1 when you solve this. So take a second to solve it, see if you get plus or minus 1. After you solve this, you do not want to keep the negative 1 because these quantities have to be positive. So our final answer is only positive 1. Okay, next one. We will take you through that one. Stop the video if you still need to work through it a little bit. I would suggest you try it first before you look at my work. All right, here we go. Next one, we have 2 logs on one side, so we are going to condense it to 1. Our quantities remain the same, but we have to divide them because of this minus sign. And we end up, I'm going to go ahead and make this log 4 squared, because remember we have a property that says we can bump that up there. Okay, so now these are both log base 10 and implied 10. They both have the same base, so we're just going to set the quantities equal to each other on the inside. 4 squared is 16. Okay, again, this becomes an algebra equation. So we're going to cross multiply. And when I cross multiply these two terms, I'm going to go ahead and distribute at the same time. So I have 16w plus 32 equals w plus 4. Solve this. I have 15w equals negative, that would be what, negative 28. Keep going with this. And we end up with w equals negative 28 over 15. Well, that's close to negative 2. Okay. In fact, we know that negative 30 over 15 is a negative 2, so this guy is closer. This is actually larger than negative 2. It's closer to 0. So we go here. We got to go back up and think, okay, will that be okay here? That stays positive. And since this is not going to be below negative 2, that one will be okay as well. So there's your solution. Okay, number 10. This is a little bit different form. We need to somehow on number 10, now you could trial and error this on your calculator, but it's going to take a while and you won't get a real exact answer. We need to bring this exponent out in front. We need to get it out of the exponent because we can't solve it until we get it out of there. One thing that's going to allow us to do that is to log both sides, because then we can take our properties of logs and bring that exponent in front. Just like you can multiply both sides by 2 and add 20 to both sides and square root both sides, you can log both sides as long as you log it with the same base. All right, now this guy comes in front. So I have 3 log 4. Oh, I'm sorry, let me redo that. That will be 3a log 4 equals log of 100. Now maybe if you guys are looking at this and going, hey, I know what that is. That's base 10. 10 squared is 100. So you could make that 2. 3a log, this is a 4. Sorry, forgot to put that there. And so we need to solve for a, which means I'm going to divide by 3 log 4. That's a number. There's no variables in there. Now the 3's go, the log 4's go, and I am left with a equals 2 over 3 log 4. If you're going to give me an approximation in decimal form of this, let's approximate to 3 decimal spaces so I can get my calculator to work here. Sometimes I got to reset this thing. Alright, got this working now. What we're going to do is actually just divide it the way it's written. But my denominator I'm going to put in parentheses, 3 log 4. I got to do a double parentheses here because that 4 needs to be closed off and then the denominator does. So we hit enter and we get a is approximately 1.107. Right? Okay. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, here we go again. We have this variable in the exponent, so we're going to log both sides. Now, you can use any base of a log. I'm choosing base 10 because that's easy to get on my calculator. Okay, now I need to solve for n. The first thing I want to do is, there's a couple different ways you can do it, but I'm going to go ahead and divide out my log 12, and those go. So now I have m minus 2 equals log 140 over log 12. Now to solve this I have to add 2, so that gets rid of that. And now I'm going to type it in just like this on my calculator. So I have log 140, close that parenthesis, divided by log 12, close that parenthesis. That's the fraction we want, and then we're just going to add 2 to that. The 2 does not go in the denominator, and we end up with 3.988. So m is about 3.989. Okay, next one. Again, at any point, go ahead and stop this video and try it on your own and see what happens. Then come back to it. Okay, first thing I want to do on this, I'm going to simplify that. I'm going to rewrite the left side. ln e to the 12th. Remember, this is base e of e to the 12th, just gives us 12. I'm going to keep simplifying this. E to the 2m equals 4. If I divide by 3 on both sides, let me make this a little bit clearer. E to the 2m. All I did was divided by 3 on both sides. And now I need to get that exponent in the front. I need to log both sides, but what I'm going to do, you could log it, log it, or you could natural log it. I'm going to natural log the e to the 2m, and the reason I do that is because that makes it a lot simpler to work with. Whoops. Gotta do the same thing to both sides, so we have ln 4. Because we know that the natural log base e of e to anything gives us that thing we're working with, so we have 2m equals ln 4. And then we just divide by 2, so m equals ln 4 over 2. That's a 4, not a y. So we go ahead and put this on our calculator. Hit the natural log button this time. Natural log of 4. We divide it by 2, and we end up with approximately 0.693. Okay. Now, you should be trying these graphs on your own. On the test, you're going to need to be able to pick these out of a picture, so you should know what natural log looks like. You should know what an exponential graph looks like with a shift. So try these first by hand. The next one, so stop the video if you need to try the next one. on your own. This next one, what I've done is this graph right here that I have in front of me, down here, number 15, I have y equals ln x. That's the red one right now. But I need to get that thing to be ln x minus 1. Well, we know that this makes the graph shift 1 in the positive direction. So I'm going to go ahead and take my graph and just shift it 1 in the positive direction. This guy doesn't want to shift very easily for me, which makes our new asymptote at x equals 1 instead of x equals 0. Okay. Same thing here. What I have graphed here is y equals e to the x. I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to shift it up 3 because this says shift that e to the x up 3. So here we go. Shift up 1, 2, 2, and 3. Our new horizontal asymptote also shifts up 3. So our horizontal asymptote is at y equals 3. Last thing I want you to do is try those questions on limits. I'm going to go ahead and scroll up in a second, so stop the video and try your limit questions first. And here are your answers. Okay, if you find any errors in this video, let me know through email. Again, this does you no good to copy these down. You need to make sure you understand them and ask me tomorrow or get in for help for some extra credit. Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.